Hello and welcome to -4 points in what is one of the craziest FPL moments I can ever remember. This is absolutely insane. Games are being cancelled, postponed, left, right and centre. The Premier League are still saying they're not going to suspend the season. They're not going to pause the season. I think they're scared from the last time football stopped for COVID. That they don't want it to be like that again. They don't want us to have no fans in stadiums. They're worried. We've got no games. We've got no players in our teams. We're making transfers like Manchester United players, Dennis. We're making these kind of transfers. And then those games are getting postponed. And we're wasting our transfers, wasting our moves. People who are, and it's quite frankly luck. Most of the people doing really well in FPL right now. And this, I know this is coming from someone who's been struggling in the last few weeks. But I've been struggling even more because of this, all of these COVID delays and... Oh, I mean, how do I make a video? I'm not the only one. I know there's other people out there. There's people out there making fantasy football content, and it is weird right now. I mean, how can we advise you to sign a certain player when that game could be called off next week? I don't know. I'm gonna try and keep this video, as normal as possible, how I usually would do it. However, there's a big asterisk next to everything saying, tomorrow the games could all be cancelled, or the next day we could only be having one game, and if you've got all players from that one game, you're going to be lucky this week and rise in the ranks, and everyone else is going to suffer. So, you know, historians, I feel, are going to watch this video one day in 20 years time and go, wait, there was a weekend of Premier League football where teams weren't playing and people were still trying to play fantasy football, guessing which teams were going to play or not. That's the state of the game, people. It is what it is. Let's take a look at how I did in this game week just gone, where... Let's see how I did last game week, people. Here we go. So this is my team for game week 17. A game week where before the game week, there was only one game cancelled. During the game week, some other games got cancelled. So... when I started this team, you look at my team right now, everybody was playing apart from... everybody was playing. I had a team where everyone was playing. Then the Manchester United game gets cancelled. Then Watford's game gets cancelled. Now, they were the ones that hurt me the most. I've seen other people out there with Spurs players, Leicester players, other games that got postponed. So I was slightly lucky that I had only Dennis, De Gea, Ronaldo who didn't play. However, I mean, it's still frustrating and it's just crazy going forward what to do next. So I did okay, 61. The average was about 40 something. So I did okay. I did manage to get myself a slightly small green arrow again. I am slowly encouraging. Here's the annoying thing. If it wasn't for COVID, I think I'd be well on track now to be climbing up the ranks. I think my team, if all the games was back on, my team's in a really healthy place. I've got good defense, good midfield. Look at my four in midfield. They're all full dangerous players. I've got Ronaldo when people are trying to get Ronaldo in, or were trying to get Ronaldo in. I have Antonio who has great fixtures. Dennis was on fire. So I was really happy with my team. Now with COVID, I'm going to have to not play people, bring in loads of new transfers, possibly play free hits. We're going to see, but Sanchez did good for me. Trent did good for me. James and Alonso did very well for me. Even though Chelsea didn't win, James got an assist and Alonso got substituted before they scored, so he got the clean sheet. Livramento, not great. Salah good. Jota good. Smith Rowe good. Gallagher was amazing the week before. This week was a bit of a quiet week for him. Antonio was a tricky game against Arsenal, but it was still disappointing to see him get two. And then Dennis, who I brought in this week. That was my one transfer. Dennis in. He was on fire. He was looking so good. That was looking like my smart pick for the long run. Dennis didn't play. So, 61 points. I'll take that at this stage of the season because I don't know what's going to happen now. We could have games. We could have the season suspended. We could have more games cancelled. We don't know. It's going to be absolutely crazy. There's going to be double game weeks, triple game weeks. We've got... this season is just going to be so crazy that it kind of makes me feel bad that I'm having a bit of a bad start to the season because this season is just crazy anyway. Look, who knows how it's going to go. I think what we have to do as FPL players, though, is stay level-headed and take each week as it comes. The season might get suspended, more games might be cancelled, but you have to do your transfers as late as possible. I've done no transfers yet. You have to do your transfers as late as possible. There's no point trying to be clever now. There's no point trying to beat price rises. There's no point trying to squeeze players in early. No early transfers, people. It has to be last minute transfers with whoever you think should play at that moment. And then going forward, who knows? So what I do every video is I do a watch list. Now, obviously this watch list comes with an asterisk. Obviously this watch list comes with, I'm going to be recommending players for the future if games start getting played again. So it's as of now, basically. So let's take a look at my watch list for game week 18, which hopefully happens. So this is my watch list for game week 18. I've got Maddison on there. Now, Leicester don't have a fixture this coming week. So this isn't a transfer I'm thinking of for next week. But this is a transfer I'm thinking of in the future. Leicester were putting a bit of form together. Maddison was on a good run. Now, you've got to be a little bit of an opportunist in FPL. And we've got to be looking at these fixtures like, okay, we've got horrible games being postponed. We've got uncertainty. However, we've got to hope that games come back. And some of these players, their prices are going to drop because everyone's going to be picking players now that are definitely playing. So Manchester United players are going to drop in price. Leicester don't play this weekend, so their players will drop in price. West Ham don't play this coming week. Their players will drop in price. So whilst it's difficult and whilst you don't want to get Maddison right now, whilst you don't want to get Man United players right now, you do want to be thinking of them to get them as soon as the fixtures come back because their prices will go down. So you want to jump on the right players when the games come back. And I think Maddison could be a cheap midfielder who could be one to jump on. Martinelli. Now, Arsenal look very good. Now, the next three players on my list, Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester City. All of those teams, as of now, are playing in game week 18. So if you're making transfers, I think you've got to be doing transfers this week. You've got to be taking hits because so many of us have teams where we have 5 or 6 players just not playing. We have benches with not playing. So you're going to have to be bringing in players from teams that are playing. And Arsenal are a great team right now. They've just beaten West Ham. So confidence is going to be flowing. So, I mean, I probably wouldn't be considering an Arsenal player if everybody was playing. But the way it is right now, it's worth taking a risk on Arsenal, if only because they're playing. So Martinelli, Lacazette, Odegaard, Smith Rowe, Tierney, Ramsdale, these are all players I'd like to bring in, and I might bring in. I still don't know what I'm doing with my transfers yet. I'm going to decide Friday evening, probably. So Martinelli's a great one. Lukaku for Chelsea. Now, Chelsea was so bad against Everton in game week 17. 1-1. They lacked any kind of killer instinct up front. Lukaku's been on the bench for a few games now. I just think surely Lukaku's coming back soon. Surely Chelsea need Lukaku. Even if he's not fully fit. Surely if he's fit enough, Tuchel's going to start risking him. So I think it's worth keeping an eye on Lukaku. Another reason why I think Lukaku's a good move is you've got Ronaldo, you've got Kane, you've got the expensive strikers. They're not playing at the moment. Kane isn't playing, Ronaldo isn't playing, but you might want to get those guys when they come back. Hopefully they come back. So Lukaku could be a good money holder. You could have Lukaku in your team, and that way you're not spending that money. And then when Ronaldo and Kane do come back, you can easily get to them. Whereas if you've just got like cheap strikers, it would be very hard to get to Ronaldo or Kane later. If you've got Lukaku, you've got an easy way. And he's a massive differential right now because he's been injured for so long. The next one is City. Manchester City have a game this week, and surely you've got to get a Man City player. Foden, Bernardo Silva. I don't have any Manchester City players in my team right now. It's one of the reasons why I've been struggling. I have to get one at least this week if their game goes ahead. So I'm looking at the likes of Cancelo, Bernardo Silva, Foden, Jesus, Grealish. There's quite a few players, and you might even want to triple up on the likes of Man City for this coming game week just because they're playing. So Foden's one I'm thinking of. The next one and last one on the list this week is Masuaku. Now, Masuaku doesn't have a game this week. However, having seen his last 2 performances for West Ham, He looks really attacking. And West Ham, the Arsenal performance is really funny because I don't quite know if it's because Arsenal were really good, because Arsenal were really good, if that's why West Ham struggled. But West Ham are one of these teams where if they have a bad game, they don't usually go on bad runs of form. So part of me is looking at Masuaku, looking at the likes of Bowen, Ben Rama again. I've already got Antonio because West Ham have a good run of fixtures. If they can resume playing football, if the COVID thing eases up and West Ham come back, I think we've got to be thinking about West Ham players. And Masuaku, at that price, is really hard to ignore. So, two of those players on the watch list this week aren't playing this week. They're ones to be thinking of when football resumes, hopefully. The other three are ones that are definitely playing this week. So, I think you've got to be looking this week at Arsenal, Chelsea, and Man City. And you've got to be taking hits. So, I've not done any transfers yet. You shouldn't have done any transfers yet until the very last moment. You've got to leave it until the deadline if you can. So let's take a look at my team so far for game week 18. But as you'll see, there's a lot of players who aren't playing. And I'm going to talk you through my sort of thinking of what I'm going to do. So this is my team for game week 18. I've never seen anything like this. What a time for FPL. What a time for the world. What a time for football. This is my team for game week 18 so far, without any transfers made yet. So I've got one transfer available. I've got 2 million in the bank. As you can see, I've got 5 players. I'm losing count. At the moment, 5 players who won't play. So I'll only be able to field 6 players. No one on the bench can come off. No one can start. So one option that a lot of people are going to be doing is taking a free hit this week. It makes sense. However, my thinking on the free hit is, what if the following game week is just as bad? Like, we don't know that it's only going to be this week with all these games cancellations and next week. Because the Premier League stance so far is they've been saying the Premier League season is not going to stop. We're not going to suspend the season. It's going to keep going on with as many games as we can possibly play. So far, there are some games happening this week. And if only a few happen, what's to say that the following game week is the exact same? So part of what's putting me off taking a free hit is, what if next week's like that? So what if I should start taking hits now to get players that are playing in clubs that don't have COVID, apparently? But then what if, say, like Liverpool had a few cases and they played this week? Like Van Dijk was one of the players. What if COVID cases spread in Liverpool and then we're without Jota, Salah, Trent? It's absolutely crazy that we're having to speculate and guess in FPL, guess how viruses work. So I'm guessing now that Liverpool have a few cases. What if it spreads? And then I'm also guessing, well, Man United have missed 2 games. What if the virus gets better for them? What if they start getting positive results and then they can play again? It's like, it's crazy. It's so hard to predict. And what's putting me off doing a hit is that, like, if I do a hit, what if I do a hit and it fails? Whereas there's times later on in the season, we're assuming these games are going to get rescheduled. So there's going to be double game weeks, possible triple game weeks. So part of me is thinking I want to keep a free hit for those game weeks. But then I don't blame anyone taking a free hit this week, because if you can take a free hit and play 11 players that play in Chelsea, Arsenal, Man City, scatter a few Liverpool in there, and if you've got a free hit that you can adjust and keep making changes to right up until the deadline, you've got a great chance of doing really well this week in a week where everyone's going to do terrible. It's going to be a terrible week. Everyone's going to be taking either hits or having players who aren't playing. I'm looking at my team now, and I'm thinking I'm going to have to take hits. I think I might play a hit. I might play a free hit. A free hit could be good. So I'm either going to do a free hit, or I'm going to do about 3 transfers. I'm going to take a -8. Now, I think if we're thinking of taking a hit, we've got to be bringing in the players that we're most sure that are going to play and do well this week. But also, we don't want to take out players that, if their fixtures come back, we will then want to get back in our teams. So an example of this is Antonio. Antonio isn't playing this week, and it will be very easy for me to take Antonio out and bring a striker in, like a Man City player, a Chelsea player, an Arsenal player, possibly even a Liverpool player if I take out another Liverpool player, or a Leeds player, a Wolves player, possibly Jimenez. But I'd want, if West Ham's games get put back on, they've got a great run of fixtures, so I'll want Antonio for that. So who do you take out? This is crazy that we're thinking this. Who do you take out that long term also works? I think how you have to play the strategy this week is you have to assume everyone's fixtures are going to come back in like 2 weeks. So you have to look at the fixtures, and that's why I'm not going to take Antonio out. But I might take Ronaldo out, because Ronaldo is expensive, and in 2 weeks' time, his fixtures start getting a bit difficult. I wanted Ronaldo for this great run of fixtures that he's not been having because of the COVID break. What a season. What a season. I went so hard on Ronaldo because he had this great run of fixtures, and he's not playing any of them. But, so for me, it might make sense to take Ronaldo out and bring in a striker who's definitely playing. It might make sense to take Livramento out because he's not really been on good form lately. And I don't think I'm going to want Livramento much going forward. So possibly Livramento and Gallagher. I was talking a few weeks ago how Gallagher's playing in a much deeper role for Crystal Palace at the moment. And maybe there's better players than him. And now he's not got a fixture. And possibly his fixtures are a little bit trickier going forward. Part of me would have wanted to keep Gallagher and take Smith Rowe out this week. But Smith Rowe has a fixture. And also, I really want to get rid of Chelsea's defenders, because Chelsea's defense is all over the place right now. So if this was a normal season and there weren't these COVID cancellations, I'd want James and Alonso out. I'd want Reguilon. I'd want Cancelo. I'd want Masuaku. I'd want Dallo. I'd want Trent still. I wouldn't want Chelsea defenders. However, I'm going to have to stick with the Chelsea defenders purely because as of now, they're playing. So for me, I think I'm going to take out the players that I don't mind. If all the games come back, I don't mind not having them. So Livramento, probably Gallagher, and probably Ronaldo. If I can afford to take Ronaldo out, and that gives me money, I might take Johnson and Allen out and have cheap players that are playing. But you've got to remember, if you're doing a -4 to bring someone in, they've got to be getting a 4 return to be worth it. Oh, wow. I hate it. I hate it, people. And the goalkeepers, neither of my goalkeepers are going to be playing. But I'm looking at the fixtures and I can't see a goalkeeper that I can pretty much guarantee is going to keep a clean sheet. So if you're in a position like me, I think goalkeepers aren't the priority. Just accept you're going to have a goalkeeper that won't play, because chances are goalkeepers are going to get 2 or 3 points. It's hard to predict a goalkeeper keeping a clean sheet. And I've got 5 players that I need to fill. So he's probably not worth it. So the goalkeeper will be staying. I'll bring in a defender for Livramento or Johnson. I'll bring in a striker for Ronaldo or Dennis. Because if Dennis goes to the AFCON, it might not be worth having Dennis anymore. Because if he goes to African Nations, if African Nations still happens, then you're only going to have him for a few game weeks and then he's going to go. So maybe Dennis goes. Maybe Antonio goes. Maybe... I don't know. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram at -4points. I'll let you know my final team before the deadline. I just have no idea what's going to happen. It could be a free hit or it could be 2 or 3 transfers. We're going to see. Either way, it's going to be horrible. Let me know in the comments. Let me know on Twitter what you're doing, what your strategy is. And if you have any advice for me, what you think I should be doing, let me know. You know the game, people. Like and subscribe on YouTube. It's a massive help for me. This has been -4points. I hope I'm back next week with another video. It could be the season suspended. We don't know. Let's see how it goes. Good luck with your Game Week 18s, everyone. I feel like we're all going to need it. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Crazy world of FPL. What are we going to do with this team?